Good morning, everybody. I think it's going to be a great day when Facebook and Instagram start recording at exactly the same second. That makes me feel pretty excited. My name is Dana Moore. I am a presidential diamond with doTERRA and the co-owner of Live Naturally Tools. And today we're going to talk about time blocking. So I'll give everyone a few minutes to be notified that we're on so they can get on. I just wanted to remind you guys that we used to go live in our group. It's called Live Naturally System, but now we're live always on Live Naturally Tools page, and that's just because the system won't let us switch from being a closed group to an open group. It won't let us change because we have more than 5,000 people in that group. So once you do, you're kind of locked into being a private or closed group. And so we can't change that, and it's just taking a long time for people to get added to that. So if you're trying to get into Live Naturally System, we're more than welcome or more than happy to add you, but you have to answer a few questions, and there's like some pending. Some of you are pending getting added to that group, and you just haven't answered the questions. We just want to know if you're a wellness advocate and why you want to join. Okay, it's nothing hard and nothing confusing, and it'll take about 26 seconds. So anyway, just wanted to let you know about that. But I was thinking today that Tuesdays become easily my favorite day of the week, and I thought that's like as weird as saying kale is your favorite food. Like, who really would like Tuesday? You know, like everybody likes Friday or Saturday or Sunday or whatever. But I just really enjoy Tipster Tuesday, and I really enjoy my own productivity on Tuesdays, partly because of time blocking. So I'm excited to dive into this topic with you today. I think it's going to be something that will actually be very transformational for you in your business, because it has been for me easily one of the top 5 skills that I learned that has helped me to be successful in doTERRA, and not just in that, but in life. Like, this has translated into everything, okay? So I have pages and pages of notes to keep my thoughts organized. And I also went in and listened to probably 4 different podcasts on time blocking, just to kind of do a little extra digging and research to think, is there something I'm missing, like something that I'm not doing to share with you guys? And I was, pleasantly surprised, but also kind of shocked that it's pretty much the same across the board. Nobody was giving me brand new insight or information necessarily on time blocking. I didn't learn anything transformational. But what I loved about that too was I was thinking, this isn't rocket science. This isn't like, oh, somebody else has a bigger secret or a better way necessarily. It's pretty much the same. And so I feel like you guys can all learn this and be really successful at it and start implementing it like even today. So just consider that. It's really helpful to have your calendars ready. It's also really helpful to have a notebook ready if you learn by taking notes. And just so you know too, if you're watching on Instagram, it only stays live on our Instagram for 24 hours. But you can always go back in the Facebook group or Facebook page, Live Naturally Tools, and catch it there, because it's both places. So just want to encourage you to do that as well. Okay. So what else was I going to say? Oh, one thing that might be helpful if you are the kind of person who just thinks, I do not know where my time actually goes. We have a free download on our website. I think it's called the 168-hour exercise, if I'm right. Anyway, go to livenaturallytools.com/downloads. There's a free download on there that will help you figure out where your time actually goes. There's lots of resources like that. If you have a favorite one, great. If not, Google it. And you can track where your time goes, and that would be very helpful if you're just kind of like, honestly, every day I feel aimless. Every day I'm not sure which end is up. I really don't have a set schedule. And I honestly don't know where my time goes. In fact, that's the question at the end of the day is, what did I do today? Where did the time go? How come I never have enough time? And if that is you definitely want to tap into that exercise and work through that, because, well, I'll get to the why in a minute, but it's just going to be really important, and you're going to need this more than anybody, okay? So a couple things. I love studying human behavior, and I find that I work with enough people in this industry to notice emerging patterns. And just between the people that I coach and my own team and working through questions that come through for Live Naturally, there's just such a broad spectrum of leaders that I get to work with that I get to notice patterns pretty quickly. Um, but one thing that I notice with time blocking and with other things is it actually all comes back to mindset. And I'm a very practical person. In fact, if you followed us for a while now, you know that I love to give you the how-to of something. I love a skill set. I love a tool set. And it's not that I don't like mindset. It's just that I don't always, like, I don't want to give an inspirational talk all the time. I want to give a, like, how did you do it kind of talk. And so I was like reflecting on this and just thinking, man, I can't even talk about time blocking until we get a few mindset things sorted, because it's just part of it. Like, if your mind isn't where it should be within this, you're actually not going to be very successful with the mindset stuff. And the quote came to mind, so a man, or as a man thinketh, so he is. And I was like, this is part of the thing. Like, with anything in life, where you're at, where you've kind of landed is a very good indication of where your mindset is about yourself, about your family, about your finances, about your time, about your relationships, about your business, whatever. It's kind of like a really strong indication. In fact, you probably don't even have to tell me where your mindset is at. If I can have a big picture of your life, I kind of know how you think and where your limiting beliefs are and where you self-sabotage. And so just keep that in mind. If you're doing some good mindset work, good. Keep it up. There's a great book. I can't think of the author, but it's just called Mindset. And I would recommend you to read that too if you feel like, I still need to grow in this. And we all do, honestly. So don't feel bad. But one thing I want to just kind of break down is you absolutely must believe deeply in the company, in doTERRA, and in this opportunity. Because if you don't, you won't prioritize your time to like put some work, energy, effort, grit, gumption, all of those things into this. And so you absolutely must believe in the company and believe in the opportunity of within network marketing and time freedom and being your own boss. And if you don't believe in that yet, that's somewhere to start, because that's going to actually just be kind of like a flashlight on the reason maybe you're not putting any time into this during the day, or you can't find the time, because the truth is we find the time to do what we want to do. And so just think that through a little bit. Maybe you're struggling there. You absolutely must believe that this work is important. I believe that me being in doTERRA, coaching leaders, helping people to succeed and overcome things, providing amazing tools, being part of like pioneering this health movement is part of the most important work of my life. Now, it might not be the most important work or the only important work I do, but I believe it is vitally important, and you have to believe that, okay? You also must believe that it's imperative to keep your commitments to yourself, because time blocking is actually setting appointments up with yourself. And if you are accustomed to breaking commitments with yourself over and over and over again, that is actually probably why you're struggling with time blocking and getting things done, is because when you say you're going to do something, you don't take yourself very seriously about it. So that's going to be important. A few examples would be like, well, I'm going to do yoga today. But then you get up and your day takes over and you don't get to the yoga. So you have trained your brain now that you don't have to keep the commitments to yourself that you said you were going to do. Or I'm going to drink a half a gallon of water today. I'm going to do that. And then the day goes on and you don't get through it. And by 8 p.m., you're like, oh, I still have 16 ounces of water to drink and I didn't drink it today. Well, I don't want to drink it now because I'm going to pee all night. So you dump it out and I'll start again tomorrow. And those seem like very little things. Like, what's the big deal if I do or don't do my yoga, or do or don't drink my water? And I'm telling you, that is the biggest deal, because everything big in life is built on these little teeny things. So when you see someone who's been super successful in something, it's not because they just got lucky. It is often because they have mastered these very small little things where their word is everything, and they get up and say and do what they said they were going to do. And so I'm going to give you some tips to help you with that. But I just want it to kind of smack you in the face in a very nice way of you are very important. You're the most important person in your life. And when you take care of yourself, you're able to take care of other people so much better. And when you keep commitments to yourself, you're actually going to keep commitments to other people better as well. And so you're not going to master time blocking unless you learn to keep commitments to yourself. So here's a well, I was going to give you another example, but I don't think you need more examples. I think you can figure that out. Let me move on to a little bit about time, okay? Because I think you all know where you're breaking your own commitments. So with time, it's perhaps, I would say, in my opinion, our most precious commodity in a way, because we all have the exact same amount. So it's the most equal opportunity resource for us, you know, like everyone is slotted 24 hours in a day, period, you know. We all are living in the same era in life, same technology, same resources, same opportunity. And then why are some people successful though with their time and some people aren't? And I think some people have learned to like lasso and control and take hold of their time. And some people are like riding on like hanging on to a wild bull. Like, I don't know what my time is taking me over. I don't know what's happening, you know? And I think this actually comes down to like, think of your time like a resource like money, where if you don't have a plan for your money, you don't know where you spend it. You don't have a budget. You don't know where it went. And at the end of the week, the month, whatever, you're like, where did it go? What happened to all of our money? Like, I don't even understand it. And it's just because you didn't have a plan, which that's what a budget is. And so it's the same thing with time. If you don't have a plan for your time, it will just go. It's not going to like sit around waiting for you. You can't store up extra hours. You absolutely must have a plan for it or it's going to be gone. And so kind of think about that in the same like vein or mindset as a budget and be like, okay, if this is my time, where am I allotting it to and for what? Okay. So a couple things that I would just say, first of all, look at the calendar, take your calendar out. And there's going to be certain things that are just set that they have to happen each week. Like perhaps your child has a piano lesson or you have a therapy appointment, or, you know, maybe you work on a job outside of doTERRA, you work something else as well. So you have like set things that happen. Maybe you always go to church Sunday morning, you know, so put those in your calendar because they're set, they're kind of fixed, and they help give us some boundaries or parameters for other things in our calendar when we're looking at this. So set those things in first, and you don't have to do it right now, but just write down to put in my fixed things that are like non-negotiable. We're committed to them. We paid for them. They're part of our values and our beliefs, and we do them. Put those things in there first because they're going to just be really important to do. Okay. Another thing I want you to do is, before you work through a lot of things, is figure out when in the day you work best. So you have to know yourself well. And for me, I am absolutely best in the morning. If I get up and like hit the ground running right away, my brain is fresh, my creativity is there, I'm not burnt out, I don't have decision fatigue yet. I love my morning cup of coffee. Like that is like a ritual that I really enjoy. So I have a ritual that kind of goes into this, and I'm going to have Jenna do a Tipster Tuesday coming up soon on rituals and different things that are going to help you, transitions and rituals that are going to help you move from one thing to the next. It's too much for today, and she's amazing at it. But morning is the best for me. That's the point. Morning is the best for me. And so I am going to time block my most important work in the morning. That's when I'm going to maybe create content. That's when I'm going to plan for a team call. That's when I'm going to network and invite people to classes, when I have the most energy and I'm clearest in the head. That's my most important and best time. It also happens to be a time where my kids are still asleep, so it works out. So you have to determine when are you best, and within your schedule, how can that work out? So maybe your kids wake up at 5 a.m. and they're young, and there's just nothing you can do about that at this point. I wouldn't say mornings are probably your best, you know, like you might not be able to like get started until things are settled, you know, at 10 or something like that. And so you have to determine that, and you have to determine maybe you're better at night, you know, and I would say go with when you're better at, because wherever you're best and your mind is clearest, that's when you're going to be the most productive at what you do. And for me personally, like by 9 o'clock, I'm like a pumpkin. Like I kind of shut down. I can do mindless work. I like to read. But I'm not going to like create or bring anything fresh or new to the table. Typically, I just end up getting frustrated by that time because I'm just over the day, and I do have decision fatigue at this point, and I have pushed out all of my best stuff at this point, and I know I need to power down kind of like an avatar, plug in my batteries and recharge so that I'm ready again. So you just have to know yourself. And if you work great at night, great. I know a lot of people who do, and they're most productive from like 9 to midnight. And I think that's amazing. I'm not that kind of person. Okay. So do you, that's going to be where you're best. The next thing I want you to do is make a list of things that you need to get done daily or weekly in your business, because we're going back to like, this is a very important work. This is a high priority. I have to get out of X, Y, or Z, or I'm determined to be successful in doTERRA because whatever your why is, the opportunity is amazing. This company is amazing. So if it is, if we believe all of those things and we're going to keep the commitments to ourselves, what kind of things do you need to get done? And if you're unsure, I will tell you what you need to do. You absolutely must do what gives you the best return on your investment, your best ROI. So you need to network, follow up, invite people to classes, teach classes, and repeat. Okay, that's what you need to do constantly. It's like working a garden. You need to sow seeds. You need to water seeds. You need to pull rocks and weeds out of the seeds. You need to talk to your plants. Hey, you're looking beautiful today. You should be growing. Why aren't you growing? I love you, that kind of thing. And if you don't believe that that's true, it really is, but we'll get into that another day. But treat your business like a garden. And so are you tending to your garden? Because it would be ridiculous to plant seeds in your garden and walk away and a month later come back and be like, well, why didn't anything grow? I don't understand. This business isn't working. And I'm telling you, it has nothing to do with the business, you guys. It has everything to do with your consistency and putting the time into it where you need to do it. So if you are looking at your calendar and you want a time block and you're like, I need to make graphics, and then I should paint my desk. I would really like a white desk. And then I should decorate my office. I definitely should color coat my oils. Like, that is the biggest waste of time, energy, and effort, and it's a self-sabotage. You don't need to be doing any of that. I love a clean workspace, so I will organize my workspace on Sunday, and it sets me up for the week, and then I'm good to go. But that's it. The rest of the week, I don't care if it gets a little disheveled or something doesn't get unpacked. I'm pedal to the metal, networking, inviting, teaching classes, following up. That's the only thing that matters in this business. And you get so wrapped up in Facebook groups and so wrapped up in this and this and this and that and systems and things like that, and you're just wasting your time. I got to recreate something. I don't really love how this one little part of this one little thing flows. Forget all that. Truly, you're going to waste your time and you're not going to be successful. So when you time block, when you find your best time in your day for doTERRA, that is the time where you should be tending to your garden. That's the time where you should be networking, following up, making those phone calls, inviting to class, scheduling classes. By the way, you should already have February scheduled out. So if you don't have classes for February, time block that today and schedule your classes, okay? So you need to do that. Sometimes this requires a little bit of creativity. So, if maybe you do work another job or you do have small kids, I know that there's things, like, I totally get it. I built my business with babies around me, and so did tons of other leaders. I also worked another job when I was first building doTERRA, and I was homeschooling a little bit. I quickly stopped doing that. But I'm just saying that we all have stuff. We all have other things. But the people that are successful figure out a way. And the people that aren't will find an excuse. And so, like, if you're maybe you're pedal to the metal all day, but you're like, when I could do this, I could actually wake up early and work from like 5:30 a.m. to 7. I could do that. And it would take some getting used to, and it would take some like splashing some cold water on my face and inhaling some peppermint, but I could do it. And think of how much more you would get done if you just pushed a couple important things to the morning every day. Perhaps you're a mom and got littles, and you're their sole caregiver, so you're home with them. You got to get creative. Maybe you barter for babysitting, barter for childcare, give someone oils in exchange. So maybe your work day is every Thursday morning, and you have 4 hours. And so for 4 hours, you tend that garden like crazy, and you network, and you follow up, and you invite people to classes. and you schedule your membership consults and things like that. So that's what you would do. But the truth is, you have the time, I have the time, we all have the time. It's just a matter of what we do with it. There is no like magic unicorn. Okay, I know unicorns are so popular and we love to call people unicorns when we feel like what they have done is out of reach of us. But the truth is, this is the kind of stuff that they're doing. And if you really want to be successful, you'll do it too. That's the bottom line, okay? Okay, let me make sure I'm sticking on my notes here. Oh, a couple of tips within that. So say you set aside your time and you're like, okay, on Monday, I can work doTERRA for 2 hours. Great. For those 2 hours, though, you find your cave, you shut yourself in the closet, you hide in the bathroom, you turn off your notifications, you do whatever you need to do to focus so that nothing else rips up that time. Because remember, you set an appointment with yourself to do something, okay? And nothing will get in the way. So this is what it looks like. Once you kind of have your schedule set and you're like, hey, Monday I can work doTERRA, from 10 to 12. And Tuesday, I can work doTERRA from 7 to 9 a.m. or something like that. You get your schedule kind of sorted out. And then somebody says, hey, can you have coffee Tuesday morning, early? Just say, I don't know how this works in people's lives, but say they're like, hey, you want to get together Tuesday morning? Let's have a play date. You say, no, I can't on Tuesdays. I have an appointment every Tuesday morning. But I'm always free on Thursday. Maybe Thursday afternoon is like your slot for getting together with other moms. Maybe you have a mom's like play group that you get together with. Maybe that is your time to be social. And you're like, you know what, if I'm going to have someone over to connect with me and have an adult conversation, it's going to be Thursday afternoons. That's my only time to really do that. Then you say, you know what, I can't do that on Tuesday, but I'm always free Thursday afternoon. Is there an upcoming Thursday that you can do that? And then they're like, oh yeah, Thursday works great. Let's do it. Because chances are they probably don't time block their life, in this way. And they probably don't have a side gig business like you do either. And so they're probably a little more flexible, but you're the one who's not. You're the one who has to keep that commitment to yourself. So that's what you say. Another tip for you is to pick a day that would be the day that you run your errands and set appointments. The things that aren't set on a weekly basis but do need to get done, like you might need to go to the bank, you need to mail out some samples, your kid needs to get their teeth cleaned. Set a day every week that stuff can happen. And so what that looks like could be, for me, that actually happens to be a Thursday. And so when I take my daughter to the orthodontist and they say, when would you like an appointment? I say, what do you have on Thursday afternoons after school, at this time? And they'll look at that. And if they'll be like, oh, can you do Friday? I'm like, no, I can't do Friday. I work that day. And so I will just say no, because if I am keeping true to my schedule and my appointments, then I don't have the time to be flexible with that, because the most important thing that I'm doing is building this business and doing this work. So think that through. I think that you guys are probably, if you're struggling with this, you're probably too generous with your time. You probably say yes too quickly. You don't think before you add something into your calendar. And you are very okay with the fact that your calendar is fluid and it can be shuffled around, because you're not quite 100% owning this, that I'm an entrepreneur and I work and my job is important. And so when you time block, it actually helps all of those things fall into place, okay? So another thing is, I said, set a timer or block off your 2 hours, but set timers for actual individual tasks. So maybe maybe it is as simple as you have 1 hour to get stuff done. That's okay. That's great, because it's going to be a very productive hour. You'll be shocked how much you get done. And maybe you're like, you know what, I have a class next week. The most important thing that I'm going to do is invite people. And so set your timer for 25 minutes and spend time sending out individual invitations, making quick phone calls, sending text messages, whatever it may be, so that you are moving the needle forward with your invitation process. And if that's the only thing you got done that day, say that everything else got derailed, but for 25 minutes you invited people to class next week, that's a killer day. That's a good day in doTERRA, because those are income producing activities that are going to help your business to grow. So amazing. But if you wasted 2 hours on making pretty graphics for an upcoming campaign you're going to do, that does honestly such a little amount of moving that needle forward, right? It might be productive and you're supporting your customers. I get that, but comparatively to networking and growing and teaching classes in that sense, it's nothing. Okay, so make sure that if you only have a little bit of time, you're spending on the most important activities for sure. Okay. Do not let anything interrupt your flow. Okay, do not. One thing I'll recommend to you mamas to have youngins that nap or have outgrown their nap. In our house, nap time was everybody was resting. It was quiet time. So it became this thing where it didn't even matter if they didn't sleep anymore. That it was probably like 1 to 3 in my house or whatever, that it was quiet time. Everyone in the house is quiet. You can stay in your bed. You can read. It's all quiet activities. One, it's extremely good for your children's brains to be quiet and spend alone time. It's actually good for their creativity and their thought process, but you need it too. It's an awesome break. Sometimes they'll fall asleep. Great. Sometimes they won't. That's okay. But there's this expectation that this is quiet time, and maybe you need to go through and there's consequences if they don't obey, and there's rewards if they stay in their room for X amount of time until the timer goes off, that type of thing. And it might take you a couple days to get a habit and to get them used to this new thing. But I'm telling you, you need to do this, and you need to get a little more organized with your life if you want to be successful at this business with little ones. So not that this is a parenting Tipster Tuesday. I'm just saying that's going to help you. Okay. A couple more things that are going to help you, and then I'll let you go. Write down at nighttime what must be done the next day. So this is a practice and a habit that I've developed, and it has helped so much, because what happens then is if you do time block your doTERRA time, but you're not organized going into it, what you'll do is sit there the whole time and try to time block and organize and schedule and look at your calendar, and you don't actually get anything done. You just get organized, but you want to actually get to the productivity part of it all. And so I'm encouraging you to do that the night before. So the night before, one thing you'll see is I kind of like carry around my notebook and my calendar all around my house. It just kind of like, it's like I'm a little schoolgirl walking from room to room, but I always have like my stuff with me, but they end up with me at the end of the night. And at the end of the night, I'm going to write down a couple things. Okay. And I talked about this a couple weeks ago, but write down your 3 must-dos for the next day. So the 3 like imperative, non-negotiable, they have to happen. I have to work on inviting people to class. The month is almost over and it's January, so you have to follow up with the reactivations. We need to get those done. So that's going to be a super important thing to spend time on. And maybe follow up with people who haven't enrolled yet, because there's an enrollment incentive as well. Okay, so those are all going to be the most important things. So write those down the night before. It's kind of like gets them out of your brain, so they're not plaguing you while you're trying to fall asleep. They're like, once it's out of your brain and written down, it's like a release. It's a natural release, so you're able to rest better, and then you're more focused the next day. I also write down 3 wins. It's a way of kind of like, listen, you crushed it today. This was good. These are great things that happen. It helps to stir up gratitude, and also just a positive like feeling toward myself and my productivity. And then I write down one thing I need to grow in and how I can change and make it better. And so I do that at night. And a lot of times, like last night, for example, my grow, change, make it better was when I set my alarm to get up at 6 o'clock, get up at 6 o'clock. And so when the alarm goes off, snooze is not an option. I'm out of bed and like, crushing it with my day. And so today, that was awesome. I jumped out of bed. I jumped straight into the shower. I was like, okay, this is happening. I got a lot of stuff off my list done before my kids were even awake, which was awesome. And then tonight, guess what my win is going to be? My win is going to be the fact that I did what I said I was going to do this morning. Okay, so it just helps me, because then when I wake up, I'm like, okay, I got to work. I'm here. What am I going to do? I look at my list and I'm like, okay, I have my 3 main things. That's right. That's what I needed to do. I needed to reach out to so-and-so. It was super important. Or get back to whatever, And so I write those things down. So for now, in life, there's other things that are super important as well. But for now, I would encourage you to only write down your 3 business things. I would say, let's focus you in and let's hone this in a little bit more so you're more productive in doTERRA. And I can help you move your needle forward in doTERRA. So for right now, I would ask you to only write down 3 important business things that you need to get done every day so that you're focused and it's not like, well, yeah, I need to set that doctor's appointment. It's like, yeah, you do. You'll get to that later and it can be part of your to-do list, but it's not part of those 3 like must-dos have to happen today, okay? So write that down. Okay, I'm just making sure I went through all my list. I think I did. Okay, a couple more things within your schedule. And I will say, you guys, like I can't, I don't know if you work a second job. I don't know if you have littles. I don't know if you have therapy appointments. Like there's so much about this that is like very unique to your own life. So you have to take control of your calendar. But I will say schedule some self-care in there. Schedule like a reward. Maybe for me, a workout is self-care, and I do that every morning. It's part of like my day. It's part of how I cope with stress. It's how I unwind. It's how I love myself. It's how I live the wellness lifestyle. So it's super important. It's in my schedule. But usually on Fridays, I try to do something that is very like restful, because working out to me is good, but it's not actually rest. And so I try to do something very restful. And I try to spend time with Nate. So it's a date day / self-care is scheduled in for us on a Friday afternoon. What else? What else do you need to schedule? That kind of thing. Schedule play. So maybe you're like, okay, maybe you're a workhorse and you are, it's easy to work doTERRA. In fact, you're like, kind of like, listen, I have no problem working doTERRA. My problem is I don't sleep or I'm ignoring my kids or something. So schedule that in, because that is a huge priority and you need to do it. So schedule in where maybe Wednesday night is family night and you shut everything down and put your phone away and everything. You're super engaged with your family. And you start practicing that better, but it's in your schedule, and then you don't let doTERRA eat that time up. So if somebody says, can you come and teach a class on a Wednesday? You can just say, oh, I can't. I have an appointment every Wednesday night, and it's with your family. But I can teach any other night. What other night is better? And I promise you, people will respect that and just schedule a different night. It's not like their only time is the Wednesday, right? So honor your time in a way that treats it as something that is valuable, and it will become very valuable to you, and you're going to spend it better. You're going to spend it more wisely when you kind of honor it and value it for what it is. Okay, I think I'm kind of done with my main points. Go ahead and ask me questions, and I'll go in later and comment if I can, and make sure that I'm just kind of helping you if you have any questions to sort this out. I've said this before, but I don't have a fancy planner. It's just a calendar to me. I just sort things out, and I'm just very clear about what's going to happen every single day, and what time that it's going to happen. And within that, within those parameters, I continue to work. Now, there might be time where you are like having to do something big, like maybe there's post-convention tour coming up or spring tour, and you are speaking at it. And you're like, this is different than normal. You might want to time block and cancel other things so you can spend like 5 hours of each day for a couple of days preparing or whatnot. You might have a huge, I don't know what you're working on, podcast, presentation, things like that, things that you're doing where you're maybe like at a higher level and you're going for bigger things. And maybe you need to like book a hotel for 2 days and work just on that and solely give your focus on that, or rent a cabin, out in the wilderness and go work on that. So there are times where time blocking on a daily basis is going to help you, but there are times where you might need to like remove yourself from the situation and accomplish something big. Just depends. So just keep that in mind, you guys. Thanks for being on with me. I loved it. I love this this topic. It actually inspires me to even be more on top of things. So it's helpful when I get to coach you guys on some things, because it helps me to like, oh yeah, I got to own that even more. And I'm telling you, every time I do, I feel like such a rock star. And my husband does it too. He writes down his 3 must-dos and his 3 wins and things every night as well. And if we get out of the habit of it, we find that the next day our time is just a little more loose and aimless, and that's not always good. Now, all that being said, I'm not actually very type A. In my personality, at least I'm not a strong type A, let's put it that way. And I love a good day off. Like I love a good clear calendar. I love a putsy day. And so I actually reserve that for Saturday, and I treasure and cherish it for like everything. And so it's very rare that you'll see me have anything to do on a Saturday morning, because I want Saturday morning to be like a day where it's like, I might just sit there by the fire and read for 2 hours. We might pull out board games, or we might go cross country ski with the kids, or it's just whatever. It's just relaxed time. And so in my calendar, what's in there is relaxed time. And so whatever the mood strikes that day is what happens. But I was still very intentional that it was very relaxing time. And when somebody says, hey, can you do this or do this? And like, we can't. I have an appointment on Saturday morning, and it's called my relaxed time with my family without having to hustle or shower or rush or hit the gym or anything like that. So keep that in mind as well, okay? So anyway, I'm sure your brains are ticking. I want you to get to work on figuring some of these things out, and I'll go back through your comments in a minute, okay? Thanks for joining us, everybody. Happy Tuesday.